Welcome to the channel. Picture this. You are sitting on a plane, the seatbelt sign is on, the engines roar louder, and a thought suddenly hits you. Why don't we have parachutes under our seats? It feels like common sense. If anything goes wrong, we could just jump. But the truth is nothing like what you imagine. Parachutes are heavy, bulky, and impossible to store for hundreds of passengers. Even if there were enough, no one could use them. At 36,000 feet, the cabin is pressurized, the doors are sealed shut, and they simply cannot be opened. Even if somehow a door opened, what then? Untrained passengers tumbling into freezing air in chaos without any idea how to land safely. It would be far more dangerous than staying strapped in. That's why parachutes only make sense for trained military crews or small aircraft. For the rest of us, your seatbelt really is your lifeline. Now think about where you sit. People argue over window or aisle, but the seat that matters most might actually be at the very back. Studies have found passengers in the rear of the plane have about a 40% higher survival rate in crashes. It sounds unbelievable, but the numbers are there. Before you rush to book Route 30 though, remember this: the air quality at the back is worse. Circulation is weaker, meaning germs and coughs tend to linger. The trick is to use that little air vent above your head. Aim it straight down and you create a curtain of air that blocks particles from drifting into your space. It is such a simple move, but it can save you from catching something mid-flight. What about that loud bang you sometimes hear after takeoff? The one that makes your stomach drop and your palms sweat. People instantly imagine the engine exploding, but the truth is much less dramatic. That sound is often just luggage being tossed around below you. Baggage handlers are not gentle and cargo shifts as the plane climbs. The thud can echo through the cabin, tricking you into thinking something is wrong. Next time you hear it, remember it is probably just your suitcase bouncing off a container. Have you ever been seconds away from landing and suddenly the plane pulls up, climbing hard into the sky again? That maneuver is called a go-around, and while it feels terrifying, it is actually routine. Pilots use it when the runway is too crowded, when winds change suddenly, or even when birds wander across the strip. It is not a mistake, it is a sign of caution, proving the pilots are paying attention. Speaking of pilots, did you know they hold more authority than most people realize? Once the cabin door closes, the captain is the law in the sky. They can refuse to fly if a passenger is a risk, they can order someone restrained, and they can even divert the aircraft if safety demands it. Imagine the responsibility: hundreds of lives in their hands, thousands of feet above the earth, making decisions in real time. Pilots are not just flying machines. They are guardians of the skies, balancing skill, focus, and judgment every second of the journey. And then there is autopilot. The name itself sounds like a miracle button that flies the plane alone while the crew naps. But in reality, it is much more limited. Autopilot is closer to cruise control in a car. It can maintain altitude and direction, but it cannot take off, it cannot land, and it cannot handle storms. All the hardest parts of flying are still entirely human. So yes, you want those two professionals up front, fully alert. Planes fly high for a reason. At around 36,000 feet, the air is thinner, which reduces drag and saves fuel. Think of it like swimming in water compared to dragging yourself through thick weeds. The thinner the air, the easier the glide. And here is a quirky fact. Flying east actually makes you weigh just a tiny bit less because you are moving with the Earth's spin and the jet stream. Not enough to skip the gym, but technically true. Most of the real mistakes happen before people even step on the plane. One of the worst is carrying passports or money in a tiny pouch. Those little bags are the easiest to lose and the easiest to steal. Keep your important documents zipped safely on your body, not dangling in a small case that can disappear in a second. Another mistake is skipping online check-in. Airlines overbook constantly, and if you have not checked in, you are the first one to lose your seat. Check in early and secure your spot. Overpacking is another trap. Just a couple of pounds over and suddenly you are forced to unpack at the counter, embarrassed and stressed, or pay a huge fee. A big shampoo, shaving gel, and deodorant can push you over the limit. Weigh your bag at home and save yourself the trouble. Even seat selection matters. Some seats don't recline, some are stuck next to bathrooms, and others have no chargers. With just a few minutes of research on seat maps, you can avoid hours of misery. Plastic wrapping your luggage might feel like security, but it creates problems. If you need to reach your passport or if staff need to check your bag, that wrap has to be ripped apart. It is wasteful and frustrating. A reusable cover or TSA lock is smarter. Even security lines have hidden tricks. Most travelers rush to the first checkpoint they see, even if the line is long. If you walk a little farther down, you will often find empty lanes and save 20 minutes. Do not forget about liquids. Security does not care how much is left in the bottle. If the container itself is too big, it is gone. Stick to travel sizes in a clear bag and you will breeze through. Also think about food. Trying exotic dishes right before boarding is risky. At altitude, digestion changes, gas expands, stomachs bloat, and discomfort hits hard. A plane is not the place for stomach adventures. Eat simple, familiar food before flying. Turbulence can be brutal for some people. If you want calmer skies, book early morning or late night flights when the sun is not heating the ground. Less heat means fewer rising air currents and smoother flying. And please carry sanitizing wipes. The dirtiest thing in the airport is not the bathroom. It is the security trays that hold shoes, belts, and phones. Studies show they carry more germs than toilets. Wipe them down and clean your hands before eating. Finally, the fight against jet lag. Change your watch to the local time before landing. Split your rest, half sleeping and half awake during the flight, so your body adjusts sooner. Stay hydrated. Eat water-rich foods like cucumber or watermelon, and you will arrive feeling human instead of exhausted. So from parachutes that will never exist on commercial flights to tiny mistakes that cost travelers dearly, flying is full of secrets. But now you know them, and if even one of these tips saves you trouble, then your next trip will already be smoother. Stick around because there are even more secrets, including things flight attendants are trained never to reveal. Hit subscribe, watch till the end, and remember, with the right knowledge, you will always be ahead of the skies.